Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Boiler Track Show, a show by Boiler at Bullet of the Rivals Network. Today, we have a very special guest in honor of the Old Oaken Bucket Week, former Purdue wide receiver Danny Anthrop. Danny, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. Before we talk about the bucket game and you guys at Purdue, obviously Jackson, your little brother, just got drafted into the XFL. What was that moment like for you, seeing your little brother kind of follow in your footsteps and pursue that pro football career?
I was really happy for him. I wasn't home when it happened. So like their draft process is a little different. So like they don't call you, you just get selected and then you find out. A lot of people were following along with it. So he saw his name go across the ticker. So he was excited about it, and he's excited to go down to Arlington, and it's in a good place. We know a decent amount of people down there, so we're excited to go down there, visit some friends and watch him play a little bit. But he's excited for it. He goes down in January, and that's when he'll get to work with them. So he's there's a few other Boilers in the league, so it'll be fun to see what happens with all those guys.
Yeah, I believe it's Terry Wright, Greg Long, Tyler Witt, who were both on the team with Jackson last year, and then Jalen Robinson as well.
Yeah. I saw Jalen. I'm excited for him. I know he's playing rugby for a while.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Where in the States?
I think a little bit was in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he played rugby for a little while.
Those dudes are badass too.
Yeah.
That's
one of the last human beings I'd ever want to see playing rugby is Jalen Robinson.
Yeah.
Just punishing those kids.
Any linebackers or D linemen, forget about it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's probably the norm over there in like those leagues, but I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on them.
Yeah. I was watching like some of his highlights, and he's just killing people, and then he was actually running the rock a little bit, and I was like, I'm glad I'm not any part of
that. What do you think about the opportunity itself, though? Obviously, the XFL is played in the spring, so I mean, you can theoretically, you saw a few guys like Taylor Heineke, PJ Walker, guys that were starting quarterbacks in the NFL this past year, kind of get seen and get that notoriety in the XFL back in 2020. What do you think about that opportunity for him to still be able to play football and showcase himself for possibly the NFL?
I've always told people I think there's far more talent in the United States and the world abroad to have far more than 32 teams. And like I was just looking at Jackson's team, and one of the second round draft pick for the Colts when I was there is a safety for him. So like there's going to be really, really talented people. And I think that it's going to be a good league, and I'm excited to see like the showmanship or like the broadcast of it, just to kind of see what it's like, see if it's crazy like the old XFL. But no, I think it's going to be a really, really exciting league. It's in a time where people kind of crave football too. So it's like right after the Super Bowl, and maybe we don't have to wait half a year for football season again. But no, I think it's going to be really exciting. Hopefully, the attendance works out and the interest is there. I know that people go to Canada. They come back. People were in like the AFL and US AFL, all that stuff, and like made it back to the league. But it'll be interesting, especially if people make a name for themselves there. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to go to a game because I've never been to an XFL game.
They seem wild.
Yeah, hopefully it is. That's kind of what I'm into. It would be like I was talking to Jackson, and I was like, so the rules about the same, just maybe a little less player safety, which is it's fine by me.
Hey, mate, you never know. We might have the Jeff Brohm moment.
I know. That's hilarious. That's one of my favorite things in the world.
I can't believe that whole thing is just crazy, even though it was like well before my time.
Yeah, man. Hopefully that's how it is. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm excited for him too. He should be coming up on the Boiler Upload, on the Boiler Track show here in the next few weeks to talk about it too. So I don't want to harp on it too long. But for you guys as a family, is it weird to not have an Anthrop out on the field and what feels for the first time in like forever?
Um, yes and no. Like it was weird, like for the first one, but now it's a lot of fun. Like going to the games with Jackson and my parents, and you know, kind of setting the clock back about a decade, and yeah, we enjoy it. There's a lot less stress involved. Um, yeah, it's been fun. You know, kind of show him the game day ropes as an adult and not a high school kid. That was the last time he was doing that. Yeah, like my mom and dad aren't like wound up like a spring. My mom was like very, very anxious before the games, and certainly not the case anymore. They look like they're having a lot of fun. And it's nice not like feeling the obligation to travel to every game. So yeah, we enjoy it. It's certainly different, but like still have a connection to a lot of the guys on the team, and still care very deeply about the Boilers. So really excited. Hopefully Saturday we can make some good things happen, and Nebraska can make some good things happen. I'd never cheered so hard for Minnesota in my life.
What are the pregame game day rounds for you guys then that Jackson's been able to experience as an adult?
So it's like it kind of depends on what like former teammates are back in town, because it's like I don't know. I feel like it's like an episode of This Time on the Tailgate. There's like a new 3 guys that we're gonna go meet, but usually we'll start. It depends if it's a night game versus a noon game. If it's a noon game, I've had to like work the night of the noon games, so like and usually it works the night before. So usually like I go to sleep about 6:30, and then Jackson comes and wakes me up at like 10:45, and it's like, oh, we're gonna be late. And I drive him to the game. But usually we go to the Boiler Exchange tailgate with where Pete Quinn's at. And that's usually where I run into our mom and dad. And I have friends and former teammates that are out on the golf course. We'll just go out there, and then Jackson's a weirdo and wants to go in for like some of the warm-ups. I'm like, I thought I was done doing this. I never cared about the warm-ups. Seen a million of them. They mean nothing. I want to go in early. So now I like what I do is I set like a limit. I'm like, all right, I will go in for the flyover. I will not go in earlier. we're done doing that. Yeah, my mom and dad used to go in like during the pregame warm-ups, like the unofficial ones where it's like quarterback just throwing it around. There's like the long snapper and the O linemen are playing catch. Like that's when they would go in. And I was like, you guys are insane. Kickoff is in an hour and a half.
Yeah, probably before they start the clock too.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of we usually stay north of the stadium. I've never really been down to like the intramural fields. Never been down there. It's like that's such a walk. I have like a secret hiding spot where I if I drive to the game, I got like this perfect little spot that nobody ever parks at in one of the neighborhoods where it's like right there. I will never disclose that location. Or so like sometimes if you like Uber to the games, if you like set like Ross-Ade Stadium, they're gonna take you to a horrendous thing. So like if you put in like one of the addresses there right off Northwestern, and then they don't go that route and they just go right to that Cherry. I always put it like a house right there at Cherry Lane Northwestern where one of our kickers used to live when he was in school. And the guy's like, "Oh man, I thought you were gonna go to the game." I was like, "I am." Thank you for not going to the one-way traffic lanes and get stuck for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's a mess over there.
Yes, that's kind of our routine.
Now, what's your guys' treatment or like reception in the community as a family? Obviously, if you're a Purdue fan, you know who the Anthrops are and then what they mean to Purdue. What do you guys get from Purdue fans if you're walking into the game or just see them out in public? I don't think I've ever asked that.
Yeah, for me, I'll usually like I don't know. I think I've been out of it for long enough to where like it's occasionally like somebody will say something to me, but it's like kind of rare. Like I'll see somebody wearing a 33 jersey, and I'm like, "What a jersey!" And they just look at me, and I'm like, "See ya!" And like just no recognition, which is awesome. I get a kick out of it. Yeah, like little kids and stuff will still come up and like take pictures with Jackson, and that's cool. But that's like he's very fresh out of it, so and it's exciting to see that. And then I used to enjoy people asking him like, "What are you doing now?" Before he got the XFL opportunity, I'm like, "Yeah, what are you doing now?" And because it's just a brutal question. It's like, "Well, still working out." So I'm glad that it worked out for him because he was very, very dedicated to staying in shape, and that's not an easy thing to do when it's no longer like making you any money. It's no longer doing anything like that. So like he worked for the golf course for the part-time, and then he was at the football facility every day, and he'd been doing that since before he went to the rookie camp at the Colts and then after. So he's been pretty determined. Then doesn't take a lot of off days, even though I'm not the greatest influence, and I'm like, you don't need to do that. But no, he's super focused, and I'm excited for him to go down there. I was looking at the other guys on his roster, and I was like, I think there's some pretty good opportunity for him.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think he was fairly early within that little like section because, like we talked about earlier, the XFL does it differently.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like, okay, he was the third or fourth receiver they picked. And I looked at the other guys, and they're all like bigger outside guys. Like he's really the only slot guy that they picked.
I was hoping Belichick got him. You know, Belichick loves those little slot guys.
Oh yeah, but there's like a million of us now. Like ever since like Wes Welker started balling out and Edelman, and like you know, like everywhere you look, there's like every team's got a little slot guy. So we're not like the commodity anymore. We're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of fair. What about like maybe I just think it's because I see all the time people talk about the Anthrops on like social media and Twitter and things like that. What do you think about that kind of research? Like you guys went on the This Is Purdue podcast while ago, I believe.
That was really cool. I think the coolest part was we did like a photo shoot in Ross-Ade when it didn't look terrible with the grass. So that was very cool. And then I'm not active on Twitter like I used to be. I used to love Twitter. But yeah, I'm not quite. I usually like use it for like somewhat news source. Like if something happens, I'll just like search it and look at what all the insane people say about it, and then go about my day. But that's cool. Like on game day, it's really funny. Like just the different things people would say. I think that the advent of Twitter in sports has made the game much more personal. I remember on one team that I played for, I will not disclose it, but then a position that kicks balls through the field goal, somebody may have missed some crucial ones, and his locker may have been near to mine. And I remember like seeing his phone. Like this is like when I was really young at Purdue. I remember seeing his phone, and it was out there just like in his locker. And you can just see the mentions like, and it was just going and going and going and going. And I was just like, wow, I can literally feel the hatred that is entering this man's DMs. Not even DMs, straight at notifications. And I was like, that's wild. I want to never, I want to, like, my goals for games when I played was don't be on a viral negative video. And that was really number one. It's like, as long as I do that, that means I played pretty okay, right? And then it was like, let's try to make all of the mentions somewhat positive, unless it's just somebody from your team that wants to do bad things to your friends, family, and significant others.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny. I think Twitter is really interesting. Like, nobody is out of reach anymore.
I haven't really done this, but I'd like to go through and, like, if LeBron tweets something about a game, go through his mentions and see how wild those are.
Oh, dude.
I've never done. I'm sure those are insane.
Yeah. There's always, like, if I see like a really, really hot take on anything, it's just like, oh my. Well, yeah, it's interesting. And then like some of like the bad ones, you like click on the profile, it's like, this has to be a bot, but who's running this bot?
Yeah.
Like 0 followers following 0 people, 2 tweets, and they're both horrendous. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the future of all that stuff. But yeah, retroactively, like if a player has a bad game, I haven't done this in a long time. When I was playing, I did. You like search the name, and you're just like, oof. You know he saw those.
Did you ever search your own name?
No, because people usually just put it right at me, so there was no need to. Sometimes I would search Jackson's and screenshot him and send them to him.
What did he say about that?
I mean, some of them are good, some of them are bad. All of them are funny.
If you can laugh at them, then you got the power in it. Honestly.
I remember. I think I remember like vividly the moment that Purdue had lost Danny Etling. We were on the bus, and it was after one of our games, and he's like showing me the mentions that he's getting with just absolute pain in his face, and I was like, yeah, this kid's gone. He's going to go somewhere else and have a great career. We are ruining this kid.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah, kid is still in the league. So I always told people, I was like, Danny Etling's very, very good player. He's young at Purdue and playing for maybe not the best, maybe not the. He probably would have had more success, under a Jeff Brohm calling his plays. I'll leave that.
Yeah, we don't gotta go too
we
deep.
don't gotta go into that rabbit hole. All right. But then when he was playing LSU, people were like, oh, doesn't that blow your mind? I'm like, no, it absolutely doesn't blow my mind at all. It's kind of what I expected.
Yeah, and then same with Appleby too. Appleby had a he had a good year with Florida when he was down there as well.
Yeah, really good year. Yeah, I remember like one of the most fun days of that first year out was I went to Harry's and watched the Florida LSU game, and it was awesome because I love playing with both those guys. Me and Austin still talk a lot, and just hearing people say like, "Oh, doesn't that shock you?" Like, no, it doesn't. They're really good. I'm telling you. I've told people they're really good. Like the media guys would be like, well, like not really media guys, but people would be like, who do you like out of them both? I don't know. They're both really good. And I think if we use either one, we'd be fine. They just happen to be on the same team, competing for the same spot. But I was glad that they both had like good careers away from Purdue. And Austin's coaching now, and Etling's got a Super Bowl ring with the Pats. Apparently he's fast now. I never understood. I did not see that coming.
He had like an 80-yarder.
I
in the
know.
preseason
I was
game.
like, I was like, they might need to test this guy.
Give him a little Wildcat package.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that was surprising. He was always athletic, but not burning NFL DBs.
Yeah. Now for you going through that era in which you did, we don't have to harp on the names and things like that. Obviously, we want to be respectful, but going through that and then seeing where the program has gone to, what kind of goes through your mind when you see where Purdue is at today, in the weeks leading up, and then when you left Purdue?
I'm just really, really happy for those guys. Like, I don't think there's like a shred of like, bitterness or jealousy for me, at least, because I never want anybody to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Kid, like getting booed at home and stuff. Like, I used to like look forward to away games just because you expected to be booed. You're like, all right, like, this is fun. But no, I think that we're moving in the right direction. Like, it's fun watching a team, and like the gripes that like the fan base has, I'm like, these are good gripes to have. Like, these are good problems to have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as long as we're competing and we have legitimate chances to win every game, and we're not just getting absolutely embarrassed week in and week out, I think everybody can accept that, right? Like, I always get a kick out of like every fan base thinks that they're going to win the Big Ten every year, for every team, and then nobody foresees a possible result that, hey, not every team can win the Big Ten championship, and that there's going to be some losing seasons in the Big Ten every year.
Mm-hmm.
And like, people are going to lose games, people are going to win games, and I'm glad that that's the way the Big Ten is now. It's so competitive. Like, people talk about the Big Ten West. I'm like, it's actually been super interesting for me. Like, I am terrible with like figuring out the tiebreakers and stuff and the possible. And I actually, the entire season, I kept like every week, I'm like, okay, so this needs to happen. And Minnesota really let me down. That just another reason for me not to like PJ Flack. Just one more, drop it into the jar.
But yeah,
but yeah, it's good. And so I think that like everything happens for a reason, and like the some of those rough years at Purdue when I was there, like during like when during some like anti-police times, people like would be kind of down, right? Like, morale's not the greatest, and I'd be like, oh man, like, I played on a 1-11 team in 2013. Like, this isn't new to me. This is fine.
yeah. I mean, when I was growing up watching Purdue, that was tough. I can't imagine how tough they were for you, but yeah.
Our most talented team, I will go to my grave, my entire years there, was the year we went 1-11.
That's the thing though. Those teams had really good players. Like,
Really
you think about Kawan Short, Ricardo Allen, D'Angelo Yancey, yourself, Danny Etling, and Austin Appleby. I mean, there's probably 30 guys you could list that were like good to great college players.
Yeah, and we barely beat Indiana State.
Mm-hmm.
Like, should have been a sign, but we don't get into that. Super frustrating. Like, we would be. Jason King said it best, and he was like, "Dude, he's like, there are some. I won't use the words he said, but bad teams that win games. He's like, they win games. They're not good. He's like, and then we play them, and it's like we're playing the Titans. Like, he's like, something's amiss. But I'm glad they figured it out. Like, we're in a great spot. It would be so sick if Nebraska can do one good thing for me in my lifetime and get us to the Big Ten championship game. That'd be great.
For all the noise that's been about Brohm, and especially this year, I feel like a lot of people have been down on Brohm, even though he's 7-4, likely to go 8-4. For him to get to at least get a share of the Big Ten West title is insane.
Yeah, Jeff Brohm is great. Like it's the same thing. Like people want to. I'm sure it's all fan bases, but like Purdue fan bases, ever since a certain era, they've just been like quick to go to coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Brohm is one of the best in the country. And like how I value a head coach is, are they calling the plays, or are they calling the defense? If not, then they are an administrator. And like whoever is calling the plays and actually coaching is your head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff Brohm is calling the plays. So, and he does a really good job at that. So it's the same thing with like Matt Painter. Like I love Coach Paint. People occasionally talk crazy about Coach Paint, and I'll say, okay, well, you tell me who in the world is a better fit for Purdue right now, and do you think that we could get them, or B, it would be an upgrade? And the answer is there's usually no solution that's brought forward to me.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I see like a crazy, Matt Painter, or hear a crazy Matt Painter comment, yeah, that's like, we're not going to talk about, and it's like every year after some game, it's like, what are we doing? We're always in contention for everything. Runs a very clean program that we don't like. There's like never an issue, knock on wood, but it's like, that's a reason for it. People recruits and how they go about doing it. Yeah, it's always an interesting thing for me. It's like, maybe tournament time or whatever. It's back to that thing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
people just not understand that in a tournament of 64 teams, 63 of them are going to lose, and all of them are going to be mad about it. Oh no, don't be barking.
He said, yep. He agrees. But yeah, knock on wood, Purdue beats Indiana on Saturday. It's the first back-to-back 8-win season since 06-07, I believe, since Joe Tiller was at Purdue, which, Joe Tiller is one of the most beloved Purdue figures of all time, him and Drew Brees. And Jeff Brohm, there's always going to be that rumor of him leaving for Louisville, but if he stays for 10, 15 years over his career, he could be right up there with Tiller, I think.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Yeah, especially if we go to the Big Ten title game, I'll be upset because I will not be able to attend. But it will be absolutely awesome. I'm excited for this weekend. And the cool thing is we'll kind of know the deal because they play on Friday, right?
Yep.
Iowa. Unfortunately, we had hurricane force winds when we played Iowa. Yeah, that one.
That game it didn't look like Purdue was winning that game regardless, so
yeah.
They just looked defeated from the get-go.
Which is strange because at that point, Iowa wasn't like really balling out.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Nebraska, who they play last week? Wisconsin, maybe?
Maybe they gotta win. They gotta win. Wait,
I think they lost by like 2 points. It was a very close game. I have to look it up. I gotta look it up now. But I remember looking at last week's results of Nebraska and thinking, we got a chance.
You just never know.
Yeah,
especially with, like you said, there's like
they lost to Wisconsin by 1 point. 14-15 or 15-14, Wisconsin.
Hey, they got a shot. Sam Laporta and the Iowa fullback are out too. And Laporta is their best offensive weapon, so they're gonna need some turnovers, which they're gonna get regardless.
They are.
It's
That defense
Iowa's
is
defense. Yeah.
it's pretty insane.
Iowa's defense is always good though.
That number 3, the corner. Do we think he'll be in the league? Would be interesting. That'd be an interesting.
You mean Riley Moss?
No, that's 30, I think.
30.
It's
That's
like
30.
Dijon.
Yeah.
Dijon or Dijon. That dude balls out. Didn't he have a pick 6 against us? I think so.
I don't know why that game's like erased from my memory
Yeah.
for the last few weeks.
You went directly to the Men in Black and they flashed you.
Yeah, that game was tough for Purdue. Who do you think is the best cornerback you ever went up against in school?
Ricardo Allen. On my
Aside from
team.
him.
That dude was a
Aside from
dog.
him, he was fantastic.
Darquez Denard was one. And Trey Waynes is really good. Trey Waynes. Those are both Michigan State guys. Those are probably some of the top 2. There's a really tall guy, like Jean Baptiste from Nebraska when I played. He was decent. Brian Body Calhoun from Minnesota was good. I don't think so. Like I used to go against like a lot of this, like the nickel package guys too. Oh, the guy from Iowa. They call him the Black Badger. I gotta look it up. He broke my finger, like, and it still hurts to this day.
Earlier in your career or later?
No, later. It was my senior year.
It wasn't Desmond.
I play
King,
Xbox with what?
It wasn't
Desmond King. Desmond King. Yeah.
I couldn't remember if you guys overlapped.
Yeah, he was
very good.
Yeah, I did. He snapped one of my pinkies when I left pinky, and it still hurts. And that game was like -4 degrees and 8 inches of snow. It was terrible. He was really good. And I think is he with the Chargers?
No, they traded him to the Texans, I believe.
Yeah.
Or he got traded to the Titans and then sent to the Texans. But he's in the league.
Yeah, he was really good. Jimmy Ward from he went to Northern Illinois, knocked me out so bad. 100% fluked the concussion protocol. They were like, Michael, I don't think that this actually wasn't a concussion protocol. Like, my coach was just checking in on me. He's like, what day is it? And I was like, we only play on Saturday. Dude, it was on a punt. And I was like going to tackle the returner, and he had peeled back and just caved in my rib cage. It was terrible. And he's still with the Niners, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was really, really good. He was like killing people on kickoff. He was all over the place. He had a cast on too, dude. Just killing people.
That's what makes those dudes different, though.
Yeah, and like he wasn't like physically imposing either. That's what, like, the weird thing was. Oh yeah, this guy looks like everybody else I play. Big, athletic, and strong. Yeah, those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I remember like the worst task I ever had to do, where I was like, I don't know if I can actually do this, was we played Wisconsin my senior year, and the entirety of the game, I had to block their 2 NFL caliber DNs. It was
chip them.
Yeah, and like it wasn't a chip. Like, they were leaving me on. Like, all I had, like, my job was just to hit them, and like the ball to get outside of me. It was terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, so if I'm an offensive coordinator and I'm attacking, and I think both of them got drafted. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but if I was game planning against guys like that, I am the last person. I am the last person on my roster that I'm assigning solo blocks against him.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Like I'm sure there's someone that's worse at it, but out of like obviously on the roster, but like when you look at the starters, I'm not that guy. I will go and I will cut safeties and corners and I'll play hard. But when I'm blocking a guy that's like 100 pounds heavier than me, it's a losing strategy. And it turned out that was definitely the case.
Yeah, I'd say so. Before I let you go here, we're coming up short on time. Do you think that obviously Joe Tiller, basketball on grass, and then now Jeff Brohm with his sort of pass rate offense, do you think Purdue should have a wing of wide receivers that's kind of similar to the cradle of quarterbacks and the den of defensive ends?
What would we call that?
The wing of wide receivers.
Okay.
That's okay. I made that up on the fly, so we'd have to figure out a better name, but like the point still stands.
I think I can get behind it. We gotta make it mainstream. You're gonna have to be pushing this agenda. Yeah, so you got like basically it's like David Bell and Ryan Dale. This year, Charlie. Who else would you add to the list?
I made a list earlier, so I'd put Taylor Stubblefield.
Obviously, you can do like Payne Durham, even though he's not a receiver.
You'd have to put Dave Young in there too, then, because he was a tight end way back in the day.
Oh, so I thought you were talking about like Brohm era.
No. The wing of wide receivers at Purdue, so it would be lumped in with like the cradle court. So like I had Taylor Stubblefield, John Standifer, Dorian Bryant, Vinny Sutherland, Brian Alford, Chris Daniels, and then maybe before that era, I'd have to go back and look because obviously I wasn't alive yet. But I think you could make the case that Purdue could make that and make it a part of the cradle quarterbacks and den of defensive ends. That sort of movement.
Yeah, no, I fully support this.
I don't understand why it's never been brought up.
Because if I don't know. So the credit quarterback, I think it's like a national thing, right? So
that's true. Yeah.
I think it just came around naturally. Like people are like, hey, all these NFL guys came from here, and then they just made that up, and it stuck. I think pushing the receivers thing is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Unless we start just pumping out a ton of wideouts. So there's two DNs. I looked them up. Joe Schobert and Vince Beagle.
Those two names pop in my Those two guys played in the league for a while.
I think one of them still plays like for the Steelers.
Schobert, I believe, still plays. I don't remember. He's on the Browns, went to the Steelers, and then he went somewhere else. I don't know where he's at now, but sounds about right.
Yeah. Whatever the date that game was in 2015 was one of my worst football experiences in my life.
Yeah, hey, I believe it. But like I said, I'm running short on time, so I'm gonna have to let you go. As always, Danny, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Have fun on Saturday at the game.
Will do. Hey, all the best to you, and stay safe out there protecting our streets, man. We appreciate you.
Sounds good. Thank you.